Of course, we have all played a video game that once it ended, it left us wanting so much more. It literally created and opened up this void that all we could do is hope for a sequel to come along that could fill it, and it never came. This is Matt from That's Fair Podcasting and Gaming Geeks Live. And I just want to talk about, for in this short video, my top 5, in my opinion, games that I want to see get sequels because I think it's long overdue. So stay tuned. As far back as I remember playing specific video games that they were so good to me. I mean, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And I would long for a sequel that never came. And I thought to myself, my God, why are they working on something else? This was so epic. It's one of those video games that had you have no idea that morning the sun was coming up and you were still playing it because you were so sucked in. But if you are new here, please feel free to subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live. Maybe like the video, help us in that algorithm. And if you don't do any of those and you just watch this video where I think these 5 video games deserve a sequel, that's all that matters because you stuck with me and I sincerely appreciate it. And once again, I am Matt. But anyway, these 5 games are the ones that I chose that I found I enjoyed the most that never got sequels. These are games that never got sequels that I'm waiting, and I have a feeling some of you will agree with some of these on this list of only 5, but I'm going to start off with a favorite zombie apocalyptic game that I love. It was Days Gone. This is number 5. Days Gone by Bend Studio, and it came out in 2019, its release date. Now, I remember that it had this amazing open world that took place in the Northwest Oregon Territory, and you play as Corporal Deacon St. John, and I remember being so immersed in it because I thought Sam Witwer just did a phenomenal job. Sam Witwer, we've seen him in some movies like The Mist and other things. He's also voiced Galen Merrick in Star Wars The Force Unleashed. But him as Corporal Deacon St. John, I absolutely loved it. I loved the story. I thought that, the sawmill horde was a bitch, but you finally get by it with Molotovs or however you figured it out. But I remember, just playing this game, and I remember I'm like, oh man, it finished, and I'm just like, ultimately at the end, I think it was Crater Lake, and you find Sarah, and anyway, spoiler alert. I mean, it's 6 years later. If it's a spoiler alert, I'm not sorry. But here's why that I think number 5 on my list, Days Gone, deserves a sequel. Well, first of all, I felt that his story really wasn't done. I mean, yes, it was a good stopping point, but I think that there could be so much more to Deacon St. John. Like, for instance, they have a baby, or they're ultimately making their way into the apocalypse, and I just think that this story has so much potential to go forward, maybe go to a different location. It doesn't matter. We need a Days Gone 2. I mean, that's just all there is to it, and that's just my opinion. Number 4 on my list is a game that maybe I only enjoyed more than most, but it's Alpha Protocol by Obsidian Entertainment, and it came out in 2010. And you play as an agent, like a government agent, like a Michael Thornton, where you can choose to be one of the 3 JB style of people. And what I mean by that is you can be more of a Jason Bourne, a Jack Bauer, or a James Bond. And it centers around a Saudi Arabia, where you're tracking down an American missile, I think, that goes missing, if I'm not mistaken. And you have to, you're hunting down this jihadist group, this terrorist cell called Al-Samad. Anyway, I just know that it gave you a good customization of what direction you wanted to take your level up the Agent Michael Thornton in. I like the fact that it's Obsidian's very own. It was one of their own IPs. It wasn't a sequel like with the Knights of the Old Republic 2 or Fallout New Vegas. And it was just, I thought it had great RPG mechanics, and it was solid in the combat gameplay, but the RPG mechanics are what really stood out, I think. And I actually had a blast playing as Michael Thornton. I played it a few times, did try the Jack Bauer more style approach, but I found myself being more like Jason Bourne in that than any of them. Why I think Alpha Protocol should have had a sequel is 'cause I thought they could have expanded on Michael Thornton's story, went deeper into it. Especially with the industry always evolving. Could you imagine that not being on the 360, but on the Xbox One or PS3 or the PS4, I'm sorry, or the Series X or the PS5, a sequel? I would love to play Michael Thornton again, or just some new one that you could actually customize a little more. Obsidian didn't give you a lot of customization on the physical appearance of Michael Thornton, but it did give you a wonderful level up system that really made it the replay value of Alpha Protocol pretty good. Now, I don't think I'm alone when I'm going with number 3 on my list that needs a sequel, and that is Bully by Rockstar, as far back as 2006. The game centers around a 15-year-old Jimmy Hopkins, who's basically forced to enroll in this private school. If you remember, I know a lot of you fans will remember this game. And, you had to take these courses. You had all your kinds. You had your nerds, your jocks, your hoods. You had all your different groups. And you were making out with the girls. You were pulling pranks and skipping. It was just kind of a fun take in a different direction for Rockstar that I think a lot of us found a thorough enjoyment when Bully first came out. Why I think it needs a sequel is because I think that we felt that it was just, again, that void. That's it. It was done. And I mean, you could still take it back in time, maybe do Jimmy in the college years. They're flirting. I think it's more of a fan fiction or fan made thing. They're flirting with a prequel as to how Jimmy ultimately got in Bulworth Academy. But it's not the point. The point is I'd like to see him maybe in his college years, really, getting in with the bad crowd and doing that thing. But Bully is just a lot of fun. Even now, I can still find the replay value fun when you kind of need to get away and feel a nostalgic trip. Bully is the way to go. Number 2 on my list is Rise of the Ronin, which was Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo back in 2024. You're one of the Veiled Edge, more you're almost like a shadowy kind of protagonist. It takes place in 1863 Japan, and you get to choose from one or the other. You get to choose you had a Veiled Edge partner, and male or female, and it starts you on these missions that you're running to help liberate Japan from the black ships. And anyway, it's actually a fun game. It came around after I believe Ghost of Tsushima did, but to me it was very comparable. It's an open world 1800s Japan, and it has a lot of samurai and ninja themes to it, with the immersion of choice that ultimately has consequences depending on what direction you go. I'm currently doing another playthrough with it, and it has the RPG mechanics aren't as solid as we're used to, but the fighting mechanics, the combat mechanics are really good. And why it needs a sequel is, do I need to say anything else? Samurai and ninja in more of a post-now era of feudal Japan, because it was in the 1800s. But the Rise of the Ronin was a really good story, and anything that has samurai and ninja in it, if you could do a sequel to, I'm on board. I don't need to tell you why Rise of the Ronin needs a sequel. Ninjas, baby. And number 1 on my list is Jade Empire by BioWare in 2005, and it's set in a mystical ancient China, where it blends beautifully martial arts with great mechanics and a great storyline by BioWare. And the characters, the NPCs in Jade Empire, I thought were par to none, some of the best that I've seen BioWare do, save of course for Mass Effect 2, mind you. In this game, you are known as the last spirit monk, and your master is kidnapped, and you have a choice to be good or evil. Just, that's BioWare for you, man, light or dark. And you have to go against the dark forces of the Emperor. And, when you bring an ancient Chinese game feel to it with martial arts, and you blend that with an RPG element by BioWare, when BioWare was at their peak, this game is why this is number 1 on my list. You travel a beautifully done up world. The replay value in this game is high even for 2005, but the world is beautiful. It's immersive. You've got great NPCs. You forge bonds and relationships with these people. And again, when you put martial arts into all of that with the more of an ancient China type feel, this game is so fun to play even to this day. Why I think this one needs a sequel is because, first of all, it's BioWare at their peak. And I know we don't have BioWare at their peak now, which is unfortunate, but Jade Empire, I don't know about you, but if you played it, did you not feel, wow, that's it? There's got to be more, because it was another IP that they created with, again, all I got to say is martial arts and peak BioWare. But I would love for another developing team to pick this up and do this, because I absolutely love Jade Empire, which is why it was number one on my list. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it interesting, please feel free to like it or subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live, whichever one. And if you don't do any of those and you just sat through this video of why I think these are the 5 video games that I would personally like to see get sequels, thank you so much. That's what means the most. And to all you gamers out there, as I always say, all love, and I'm outro.